That concludes phase 2 hearings in this inquiry. I would again like to thank all the core participants and their legal representatives, as well as the inquiry staff for ensuring the smooth running of the hearings. I would also like again to thank the IDRC for hosting us, as well as RTS for their technical support, and I'm grateful to the transcribers and the evidence handler for their assistance throughout the hearings. Finally, thank you to the ushers and the staff from Hestia for their support. I'm very grateful for the high levels of engagement that there have been before and during the inquiry hearings. The inquiry received a number of statements from formerly detained men, 4 of whom were able to give live evidence. Many of these men are highly vulnerable and have provided detailed statements giving their accounts of mistreatment and other experiences at Brook House and elsewhere. I appreciate just how challenging this must have been for them, and each will be considered for the purposes of my report. The inquiry has also heard live evidence from 74 other witnesses, and for each person that gave evidence to the inquiry, I recognise that it's not been an easy experience, but it has been of considerable value to me and to the whole inquiry, and I wish to express my gratitude to all of the witnesses who have come to give evidence over the past 7 weeks. Whilst it has not been possible or necessary to call each person who's provided a statement to give evidence in person, each of those will be considered when preparing my report, alongside the rest of the evidence received in the course of the inquiry. I have listened very carefully to the oral submissions that I've heard over the last 2 days, and I look forward to receiving the written submissions by the 29th of April, which I will of course also consider with great care. The inquiry team will then provide an update on the overarching timetable in due course. And finally, I would like to say this. We have heard at times some very technical information regarding the contract, the systems, the rules and the processes in place at Brook House. We've also heard evidence about the role and the structures of oversight and monitoring mechanisms in place for IRCs. And in the course of these inquiry hearings, we've heard evidence in person or read in and seen footage of men suffering mistreatment and in distressing situations. We've also heard directly or read transcripts of swearing and abusive language directed at detainees. So although for reasons of necessity, we've had to refer to those formerly detained men at Brook House using ciphers, I want to emphasise that at the very centre of this inquiry are the men who were detained at Brook House. And I would like to conclude my remarks by acknowledging that behind each and every one of those ciphers is a human being who should have been treated with respect and dignity, and neither I nor the wider inquiry have lost sight of that. Thank you.